theory questions that they ask in tests and exams. Alright, so the first one there is hydrochloric acid. Now I want you to, I didn't say it there, but I want you to practice phase subscripts. So put in phase subscripts. Okay, this is a gas and it reacts with water, which is a liquid. Tapelo. Hydrochloric acid, is it strong or weak? What is the definition of a strong acid? Go to page 3. Say again. Of hydronium ions. Okay. Right. Then, Mouse, is hydrochloric acid a mono or diprotic acid, and why? Is hydrochloric acid a monoprotic acid or a diprotic acid, and why do you say that?
She's buzzing.
Is she buzzing? Yes.
This is a mono.
Why is it mono?
It is 100 hydrogen.
Yeah, 1 hydrogen. Yes, it has one. It donates 1 hydrogen. Ooh, that's my question. Lapilo, what is the Lowry-Bronsted definition of an acid? Page, to your notes. Go, go, go. The Lowry-Bronsted definition of an acid. No. That is the Arrhenius definition. Say again. It's a proton donor. A proton donor. So here it gives away that hydrogen to become the hydronium ion, and it's a monoprotic acid. All right, next one, B, is Tiamo, what is this one's name? That acid. Yes. No. No. It starts with an N.
That one is nitric.
Nitric acid. Monoprotic or diprotic? Monoprotic or diprotic?
It's mono.
Why?
It has one each.
It donates 1H. Yes. Cananello, what is the Lowry-Bronsted definition of an acid?
Oh, Nepal just said.
Say again?
Nepal just said.
Yes, what did she say?
Proton donor.
It is a proton donor. Good. Right. Then the next one. No, I didn't specify this in the homework, but the next one, there is, you could have answered it in one of two ways, and I want you to write down both ways. You could have either written the two-step ionization process or the net reaction. Okay, so if you didn't do the 2 steps, I want you to add that to your homework. So we start with this one. Putumilu, what is this one's name? No, no. Something acid?
Carboxylic.
No.
Potato.
No.
We used it in the last one, right?
Now you use it in or you get it in fizzy drinks, cool drinks. No. Starts with the C. Carbonic acid. Carbonic acid. Vanilla, weak or strong?
Oh, it is a very strong.
Weak acid. And what's the definition of a weak acid?
Acid.
No, not the Lowry-Bronsted definition of an acid. What is the definition of a weak acid?
Ionized is
Weak.
Oh, and incomplete, and there's a nice incomplete
To form a
low concentration of H3
hydronium ions. These are definitions that they ask a lot. That's why I'm asking it over and over and over again. Okay, now sorry. Another question, Chichi. What type of acid is this, mono or diprotic? Why? Because there's two hydrogens, it is a diprotic acid. So because it's a diprotic acid, it can ionize in 2 steps. Okay, so in the first step, it gives away 1 hydrogen, so that you get 1 hydronium and hydrogen carbonate ion. And then we take that hydrogen carbonate ion again, and it reacts with water. So then it gives away that other hydrogen, so that is the second step, to get another hydronium ion and the carbonate polyatomic ion. Okay, so we've done a similar one like this with sulfuric acid. So because it's a diprotic acid, it ionizes in 2 steps. The question is coming, you're right. Then you can also write the net reaction. So the net reaction is like in mathematics where you add the 2 together, but when you add them together you can see what cancels out on both sides. And the only thing that can cancel out is the hydrogen carbonate ion. Okay, so if I add them together, then we have carbonic acid reacts with 2 waters to give you 2 hydronium ions and the carbonate ion. Okay, so I think most of you wrote down the net reaction if you did the homework. Tapelo. In this reaction, which substance acts as an ampholyte? Ooh, first question. What is an ampholyte? Vanille.
It can be a base and an acid.
It can be a base and an acid. So Tapelo, which one in here can act as an acid and a base? No, water can be an ampholyte, but in this reaction it is not an ampholyte. No, it's Tapelo's answer. What's the last one's name? No. Yeah, but it's the wrong one. No. No. Yes. The hydrogen carbonate ion or the bicarbonate ion. That one. Here it is a base, here it is an acid. Okay. Right, the next one, question D, is the same. It is sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is again a diprotic acid. So because it's a diprotic acid, it will ionize in 2 steps. I'm going to do that again. I want you to practice this because they do ask this quite often. So first it will give away 1 hydrogen to form the hydronium ion and the hydrogen sulfate ion. Lepelo. No, nou gaan ek so. What is the definition of a strong acid? What is the definition of a strong acid? Mels could have answered the question. Okay, it must make sense to you, your definitions. The sulfuric acid ionizes, splits up, breaks, reacts to form a high concentration, a lot of hydronium ions. Okay, so again, the 2 steps. Males in this reaction, find 2 amphilites or 2 substances that can act as amphilites in general. So it doesn't need to be an amphilite in this reaction. It can be an amphilite and water. Okay, again, these 2 cancels out on both sides. So you sit with sulfuric acid and 2 waters and 2 hydronium ions and the sulfate ion.
Can I ask, when these 2 waters, what does it mean when you have 2 of these 2?
1, 2.
Two water molecules.
Yeah, 2 water molecules, yeah.
Is this H2O?
Yes.
So what does 2 H2O mean?
2 water molecules.
Yes. It means if you had a twin, then we would have had 2 Baneles. So if we have water, say that's water, then we have 2 waters.
He still doesn't understand.
No, he does.
No, he doesn't.
But the logic behind, he wants to know how it's 2 waters.
Like 2 water molecules, like 1, 2.
But now my mind, when you say 2, I mean like 2 liters of 2 waters.
Yeah, no, not 2 liters. No.
Oh, 2 waters.
I understand.
Oh, 2 waters.
But Nela, are you sure you understand?
He doesn't know.
When you say 2, you say there are 2 molecules in the water.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
He doesn't understand. Yeah. Remember, it's like when you say 2 waters, he thinks you say like 2 waters.
2 bottles of water.
Yeah. No, it's not like that.
You understand, bro?
Yo, but I can confuse you, but it can mean that as well.
See, that's why I asked.
It's just the ratio. So you can either say for 1 molecule, English, 1 molecule needs 2 molecules. Or you can say 1 bottle needs 2 bottles. So this is just a ratio. That's all it means. Okay. E. They give us the... Where am I with my question? Mel, it's your question. Wat het Mel geantwoord? Jouw definitie. Yes, that's true. Chichi, what is this one's name? It has 3 names.
Acetic acid.
Well done. Or, I'll give you a clue. There's 2 carbons. Ethanoic acid. Weak or strong, Banele? It is a weak acid. To give the definition of a weak acid.
Weak acid ionizes incompletely with low concentration of H2A.
To produce. Okay, then Botumelu, give me the Lowry-Bronte definition of an acid. It donates a proton. Then, Kananelo, difficult question for you. In this reaction, give me the formula or the name of 2 bases.
The formula?
Or the name of 2 bases. In this reaction. I'll give you a clue. You must make conjugate acid-base pairs to help you. No, they can't be. You can't have base-base. No, his name is acid.
Ma'am, the base is the second one.
Water is a base, yes.
And
Hey, I understand.
what do you understand?
He said, and the last one.
No.
He did.
What is your name?
And the last one.
And the last one. So this is a typical question they can ask. They can ask, give me the formula of two bases in this reaction. Then you must make acid-base conjugate pairs. So this is an acid. So its friend is the conjugate base. Tiamo, give me the name of the conjugate base.
What Chichi said.
No, you didn't say anything.
Oh, eh?
Give me the name of the conjugate base.
Conjugate base.
Yes.
Which is that one?
Yes.
And Chichi said it's most.
Chichi said nothing regarding that.
Ma'am, the first one, what did Chichi say?
It's called, he said vinegar, or he said acetic acid.
Oh, acidic acid. Acid.
It's something ion.
Acidic.
You see, I'm looking at the exam.
Acidic.
I'll give you another clue. It ate a lot of oxygens.
Ma'am, what?
Sulfate, 8. Carbonate, 8. I explained this in grade 10. And grade 11 again. Sulf, 8. Carbonate, nitrate.
It's nitrate.
No, it's not nitrate. Oh, you're taking too long. Acetate, 8. Acetate ion.
That's acetic ion.
Yes. All right. Next one, Tapelo. What is this one's name? A common name.
Calcium.
Not chemical name, common name.
It's called gate.
Slaked lime. Mel's slaked lime, is it an acid or a base? Is it a weak or a strong base? Why is it strong? Okay, careful. It is the OH bonded to group 1 or group 2 elements. This is in group 2, so then it's a strong base. Yes? Did you write that down if you didn't know it? Strong base. Lepelo, what is the definition of a strong base? Not ionized?
Dissociate.
Yes, to produce. Yeah. You are obviously sleep deprived. Of? Think, look here, what does it give you? Hydroxide ions. And excuse toch? Alright, so it gives you calcium ion and it gives you 2 hydroxide ions. If it gives you 2 hydroxide ions, Tiamo, is it mono or dibasic?
So it gives you 2 what?
2 hydroxide ions.
Is it mono or what?
Dibasic.
It's 2 because it gives you 2 H's. It's di.
Thank you. Right, sorry, I forgot to put here, this is a solid, because bases are all solids to start with. This one here, Kanelelo, again, a trick question for you. I don't know, it's too far. Is this an acid or a base? Here, my extension on my question. Is it an acid or a base? No. I didn't ask, is it an acid or a base? I asked, is it an acid or a base? No, it's not. Okay? Because when do you have an acid or a base? You have it when you have something bonded to an oxygen, or something bonded to an hydroxide, or something bonded to a carbonate. Then it's a base. You don't have one of those options there. It's bonded to a sulfate. Then it is a salt.
So if it doesn't any of those three.
Then it's a salt. Alright. So a salt dissolved in water, that gives you 2 potassium ions and the sulfate polyatomic ion. Alright. Question C. We have the ammonium chloride. Again, it is not an O or an OH or a carbonate, so that is why it is also a salt. A salt that splits up in water to give you the ammonium polyatomic ion and the chlorine or chloride ion. And then the last one is sodium carbonate. Boitumelu, acid or a base?
What would you do? What would you do?
Hey, only for him to say no.
Hoekom beklei hy?
Because they told her.
South Africa,
They said he told her.
you told her exactly.
Down.
You gave the answer
At
downstairs.
the green.
Yes, I know.
If she misses this one, South Africa is wrong.
Okay, Boitumelu, South Africa's hands.
It's in your
You,
hands.
South Africa is in your hands.
Let me just sleep with the tongue.
What did you say? It's a base. Banele, weak or strong base.
Oh, it's a weak.
Why?
It ionizes incompletely for low concentration of OH ions.
It's hydroxide, man.
And why is it a weak base?
Because it's bonded to the group.
The first group.
Yeah, group 1.
No, but then it's a strong base supposed to be. So why is this a weak base? It is a weak base. Why is this a weak base?
Does it have to be the
What did I say is a strong base? That's why you guys must make notes when I speak. I said it's an OH bonded to group 1 or group 2 elements. Do you see an OH there? No. Weak. Then I said on your first page, Gigi, I said on your first page, I said if this thing reacts with, let's say, an acid, this acid, then it gives you a very special product. What is that special product that it gives you? If a carbonate bonds with an acid, it gives you a special product. What is that? No. No. No.
What is it?
If a carbonate, yes. So whenever you see a carbonate, you must think, okay. If this reacts with an acid, yeah, it didn't. It just dissolved in water. But if it reacts in an acid, with an acid, it will give you carbon dioxide gas. All right. Now we are busy with hydrolysis. I was busy explaining that yesterday. Nee, kom nou. Oh.
I'll take it to a scalpel.
All right, are you done? All right, so I'm busy with hydrolysis, and I was busy explaining yesterday. I didn't finish. I was busy explaining yesterday. I said, all right, let's say, for instance, you have a dam, and you check the pH, and you see the pH of the dam is 12, which means you can't consume it. So what does the pH of 12 mean? It means that the concentration of the base is too high. So you must bring it down, the concentration of the base. And how do you do that? You bring it down by adding, so this is what we must do, by adding concentration of a hydrogen or a hydronium. That is how you bring it down. So that is what we want. We want to find something that can add this so that it can neutralize or eliminate that. Okay, now you can't just pour in an acid, that is illegal. So what we do is we find a salt that highlights this. a salt that brings this to the party, almost. Okay, so we said, let's look at this salt, ammonium chloride. When that dissolves in water, it gives you the ammonium ion and the chlorine ion. Okay, in water, so water also sort of splits up into the hydroxide and the hydrogen ion. So you get ammonium hydroxide and you get hydrochloric acid. Then we said, this thing here is a weak base. How do we know that? It's an hydroxide bonded, not bonded to group 1 or group 2 element. So weak base. What is a weak base? It associates incompletely. Meaning what? It means that these two find each other and they stick. They stay, they don't split up. So basically it's as if ammonium is taking the hydroxide out of the equation, out of the water. Okay? And this hydrochloric acid is a strong acid. So a strong acid ionizes completely, meaning yes, these two can come together to form hydrochloric acid, but actually they remain split up. So you have a lot of these ions in the water and very little of these ions in the water. It's almost as if this thing, let's say you guys are looking for dates for matric farewell, and let's say there's a couple. Okay, let's say it is by can you ask either one of them to the matric farewell? No, Val, you stay out of their business. Okay. Alright, so let's say if there's a couple, it's as if they're not even part of your options. You don't even look at them if they're not an option. The same thing here, they stick together, it's as if they're in the solution, but it's as if they're not even there. Okay, there's a lot of this going on and very little of this going on. So what happened here is now we added a lot of hydrogen ions. So we added that, so it will eliminate the hydroxide ions in the water and the pH will become neutral. Alright, so that is hydrolysis. So that is why I drilled you in these definitions. What is a strong acid? What is a weak acid? It ionizes completely, does it ionize, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that is what we're doing here on the next page. Hydrolysis. Hydrolysis, the definition here is a reaction of salt with water. Yes, they do ask this definition. Hydrolysis is a reaction of salt with water. Don't get confused with hydrolysis from organic chemistry. This is something else, yes. Yes, can you believe? No? Reaction of salt with water. Easy peasy. You wish they asked this one. Alright, so let's quickly look at, let's decipher what will happen here. Let's say you have this salt. Okay? What will this salt do? What does this salt brings to the party? That's what we're going to look at now. So you take salt. Okay? And it's going to split up, solid, it's going to split up into sodium ions and chlorine ions. And that will happen inside water. So you get hydroxide ions and hydrogen ions. Yes.
Wouldn't it be nice if you were to host a camp, a physical science camp at your house?
At my house.
The house is gonna explode.
Where do you want to camp at my house?
The backyard.
You're gonna sleep in a tent.
And then you start for the final exams. For the last time. You see? For the final exams.
We will see. Tiamo. It's not a bad idea.
And then we wake up with physics, we sleep with physics.
Maybe we can have something like that in the hostel.
Oh, yes.
No, the hostel is too spooky. You.
My house does not have enough space. Because remember what I would do for you, I must do for the Afrikaans kids as well, ne? As a teacher, you're not allowed to have favorites.
But you do know. Inside you do know.
But I'm not allowed to have. Alright. Where did I leave my questions? Okay, Chichi. Sodium hydroxide is an acid or a base?
It's a base.
Strong or weak?
It's a strong.
And what's the definition of a strong base?
It just attached to the orange.
You must write very small here.
Dissociates completely to form a high concentration.
Dissociates completely to form a
Iron.
high concentration of hydroxide ions. Okay. Say again, the other one. Strong what?
Acid.
What is the definition of a strong acid?
Iron acid completely.
To give you a
Hydronium ion.
Concentration of H.
Hydro.
Yeah.
You get it? Right, you must say that thing, man. It helps you mentality, you know.
Alright. So it is a strong acid which ionizes completely. So what we basically have is these two things here, and they actually won't bond. They will actually split up, so you will have a lot of these ions and a lot of these ions. So technically, okay, is you will have the concentration of the hydroxide ions will be more or less the same as the concentration of the hydronium ions, or you could have written down hydrogen ions. Same thing. So their concentration will more or less be the same. It's not that you have more acid or more base. And that means that your pH will be more or less 7. Okay, so I just want to clarify here. It's not that the salt has a pH of 7. It is when you dissolve the salt inside water, so you have salty water, that pH is around about 7. So if you add that salty water to something else, it won't change the pH. So if you have a solution with a pH of 5 and you add a solution with a pH of 7, will it change the pH? No, you're adding an acidic thing, you add a neutral thing to it. It won't change it. Okay, so this salt will help us nothing if we have a problem with our water in paradise. Okay, let's look at the next one, and we already did the next one. Okay, we have ammonium chloride. What's wrong? Okay. Ach, nee man. I just want to save space, so I'm writing it here for a specific reason. Okay, Poitumelu. This one. Acid, base, weak, strong, why? Say again? It's a base, but it's not strong. Obviously, then a weak base. Why?
It's not attached to the OH is not attached to the first group
Or the second group. Okay. And what is the definition, Butimelu, of a weak base?
It dissociates.
Yes, it dissociates. Say again? Completely? Incompletely. To give a low concentration of hydroxide ions. Okay. Now, you can write that down in the test or an exam, but the following is the words that they also want you to use. Okay? Is they want you to say that means that ammonium ion removes hydroxide ions from the solution. Alright, so they want you to say that these two get together and that ammonium ions removes hydroxide ions from the solution. Okay, and if we look at hydrochloric acid, weak or strong, Gananelo? It is a strong acid, and what's the definition of a strong acid?
It ionizes
Completely yes, to give a
concentration of H2 plus.
what concentration? High or low?
High.
High concentration of hydronium ions. Okay, so from there, we can thus say the concentration of the hydronium ions will be greater than the concentration of the hydroxide ions, because the hydroxide ions was removed from the solution. Okay, so tell me, what will the pH then be of the salt?
Can you give me ideas?
There's 400 days.
Is greater or smaller than 7? Which one is more acid or more base? Okay, and acid, where's the pH? At the bottom or at the top?
Ma'am, what did you ask?
When something is acidic, it means that the pH is smaller than 0.7.
Okay. Always like that. Alright. So when it's above,
Then it's basic.
when it's 14.
Yes, then it's a base.
Okay.
Alright, let's look at the next one. Now the next one, you can see I gave you a few examples there. They are all examples of bases I found in past papers. We're going to look at this one that they give most of the time. I've seen that one the most. Okay, so we have sodium carbonate breaks up into 2 sodium ions and a carbonate polyatomic ion. Same thing with water. Okay, but this valency is +1, this one is -1. They fit. This one is -2, this is +1. So it means we need to have 2 hydroniums. But we can't just add 2 hydroniums, it is 2 of everything then. Okay, so that means we will get 2 sodium hydroxides and we will get carbonic acid. Okay, sodium hydroxide tapelo, acid base, weak, strong. Why? Now I'm going there. And what's the definition of a strong base? Incompletely. Strong is completely to give you what? Give you a high concentration of hydroxide ions. Oopsie. Yes.
Which one is incomplete?
Weak. Weak, incomplete. Yes.
A weak base.
Weak anything is incomplete.
So what is the weak acid?
Incomplete. It ionizes incompletely. Weak base, it dissociates incompletely. Mouse? What is this one's name?
Oh man.
It's carbonic acid.
Mooi. Okay, so it's an acid, weak or strong. And what's the definition of a weak acid? Dissociates?
Ionizes.
It ionizes incompletely to give you a Mooi. And that means golden sentence. So if you read somewhere ionized incompletely, then you're also going to write, that means that. So it removes the hydrogens. What removes the hydrogens? The carbonates. So it means the carbonate ion removes hydrogen ions from solution. So that means if we compare these two concentrations with one another, which concentration will be greater, Lepelo? Yes, Tiamo?
What I see.
I think you said ma'am. Okay, Tiamo, but I have a question for you. So where will the pH be? Lower or greater than 7?
Ma'am, the last time I did it was facing.
I'm switching it the whole time.
The first one.
What's the first word?
Yes, right.
Oh, it's greater.
Then 7. Yes. Because it is a base.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. Alright.
When it was facing like this, it was lower because acid.
Yes.
Alright.
Okay. The next one there is called ammonium acetate. Ammonium acetate. Ammonium acetate. Alright. While we are busy writing this down, I just want you to check the middle two, example 2 and example 3. I bolded. The other two I didn't bold. Okay, so you can see I bolded these two, meaning they are the ones that you get asked more often in the test or an exam. Okay, so these two get together and they give you ammonium hydroxide, and these two get together and they give you what I... Cananelo, just what's this one's name? The green one? Wait. Alright, so you guys don't have homework.